Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Spark podcast, with our aim being to help raise awareness on sexual assault and harassment in Ghana. Today, I'll be reading out a story from a victim who wanted to share her story, but she didn't want to come on the podcast to talk, so she wrote down her story and I'll be reading it. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. So basically, I was harassed at the age of 7 by my older cousin who was 15 at the time. I was introduced to certain actions which were, not gonna lie, pleasurable, but I felt highly uncomfortable doing them. At that age, I didn't understand why I had to do them and what the goal was, but it pleased her, so it pleased me. I visited her house every week during the weekend, and she called me privately and explained to me what had to be done. I was specifically told not to tell anyone about it because it was our secret. This continued until I was about 9 or 10, and I started getting more conscious of the situation. She started asking me to do things to her which I was grossed out by and didn't want to do but had to do. She was very aggressive with me, and I started becoming scared. Fast forward to having, into quotes, the talk, and lots of talks at church about sexual sin. I started getting really, really scared, and as she was the only person I could confide in at the time, I spoke to her about it. And she told me that they all meant nothing. There were times I threatened to tell adults about it, and she threatened to beat me up if I did. We disappeared for hours, but no one was ever concerned because it seemed like I was just very close to my older cousin. As more time went on, I started becoming more and more uncomfortable and even sometimes tried to miss out on going to her place. But if I had done it too much, I realized that the adults would have started to get suspicious about the whole thing because they knew how, into brackets, close I was with her. One day, she tried to force me to make out with her after I told her no several times and forced herself onto me for her own pleasure. I decided enough was enough and I needed to escape this. It was obvious to me that no adult would believe me if I had just said it. So I had to think of a way of exposing her without it directly coming out of my mouth. So I became close friends with one of the girls in my grade and explained everything to her. She didn't fully understand being 10 and all, so she asked me to show her what I was talking about. So I did, and she accused me of harassment. I got into trouble with the teachers, and eventually my family found out. And even though it seemed like I had did that for my own satisfaction and I had disgraced myself, I finally got them to know who was behind it. And even though they wouldn't listen to why I did or what I did, the situation was taken care of. I didn't have to see her again for a long time, and I felt safe again. Not completely, but it was a start. I got to heal, and my family eventually let the shame go. It was messy, but at least it's over. So, yeah, that was the story in total. So basically, it was a family relative, a female family relative, who was inflicting all of this to her younger cousin. This is basically female on female. um, this takes me back to some episodes back where I was talking about being careful and being safe around people. Like as I continue to have these interviews with people or like talk to people or like read stories, you start to realize that it's not everyone that you can trust. That some people you really need to like know how to put up a boundary, cause like you really can't even trust your family at this point, cause like there's only so much you can trust, for them to not do. Like most of these stories, it's most of the time, like, people who they're close to, people who they know, it's rarely people who are out of the blue. So normally it's like an uncle, an auntie, like all of that. And people don't really understand when, like, we're all trying to emphasize the point that you should be careful about who you're around, especially when it comes to people you're close to. But then I think that listening to most of these stories, you should be able to understand why I emphasize, like, putting a guard up no matter who you're with. I'm not saying that you shouldn't trust anyone. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, like, your safety should come first. So it's important that you don't just jump in head first and then believe everything that you hear. And then this leads me to my second point, where you need to, like, learn what is right and what is wrong. I'm pretty sure when she was young, she didn't understand what was going on. Or, like, eventually, like, she started to figure it out. But that was, like, after. Because, like, when it initially started, she didn't know what was going on. But now that you've gotten this deep into it, like, how are you just going to jump out? You get? So we just need to be able to know what sexual harassment and assault is, so that when you can see it, like, being inflicted onto you, you can be like, oh, wow, that should not be happening to me. Look, when it becomes harassment, normally it involves the fact that consent wasn't involved. Also, you're only allowed to give consent to sexual activities above the age of 16. Therefore, if anyone unconsensually or consensually touches you below the age of 16, that's a whole case. And that case should be taken up with someone you trust, like your parents or your guardian, and then just see where it goes on from there. If you don't feel like you can trust anyone with this information or what you've just gone through, please feel free to contact me, my organization. I am so ready to help you. We're going to find solutions. We're going to find ways to help you. That is what I'm here for. We're here to help you. In educating others, we also want to help you who have undergone this experience. We have so many resources at our disposal. We're ready to help you. Please look at the description below. Click on our website, go to our contact page, and just email us, text us, talk to us. We're gonna be here for you. And by we, it's mostly me. Okay. So yes, I was saying, this is basically just, like, touching on the preventative methods, which I have, like, picked up from this story. Because, like, even though victims come here to share their story, we try to pick up some lessons from it. That's, like, the main point of listening to these episodes. So I'm really, really hoping that you guys are picking up these lessons, because I really, really, really want you guys to be able to protect yourselves, or, like, help yourselves not get into these type of situations. Anyway, so as I was saying, you have to be able to know what is wrong, know what is right, so that if something happens to you, you can just jump at it and be like, oh, this should not be happening to me. This should not be happening to me. If someone is touching you inappropriately, and remember, inappropriately doesn't just mean that they have to be touching your private part. If they're caressing your hand in a certain type of way, or your thighs or your legs, that is harassment. That is harassment. Don't let them do that to you. Touching, or if they're even talking to you in a certain type of way. Yes. That is so prevalent. If you listen to episode 7, you would see that, like, paying attention to how a person talks can prompt you as to their true intentions when it comes to you. One of the major key things is watching how someone acts towards you, like their behavior towards you. That is so important to take note of, because if you don't, it's going to, like, as much as I want to say that you shouldn't have to worry about yourself in this society or this environment, you really can't trust anyone. And it's so much better to be safe than sorry. So please, please be mindful of how someone talks to you. If you see that they talk in a sexual way, or like they're talking to you in a way that they shouldn't, especially if it's like a maybe like a teacher and a student, and then the teacher is now talking to you about your body and all that. No, that is not normal. Take into consideration the roles that take place. Like if he's your teacher, is not supposed to be saying that. If he or she's your teacher, they're not supposed to be saying that, because girls and boys can all be sexually harassed and assaulted. Let's just put that down. Anyway, so yeah. Also, for as for dealing with what she went through, I cannot imagine being confused as to what your aunt was doing to you, and you're just there, and you want to break free, like you don't want to do it anymore. You're trying to reach out to someone to help you, but like you don't have anyone to talk to you because you know that they will not believe you. No one should ever be in that position. Again, Spark Organization is here for you. If your parents will not listen to you, if your aunties will not listen to you, if your uncles will not listen to you, I am here. I will listen to you, and you and I will come up with a conclusion, a solution. Like, please, please do not stay by yourself and then deal with this all by yourself. Please don't. Because after we tackle the issue itself, it's time to help you heal emotionally, mentally, and physically. Please, Spark Organization is here for you. I beg of you, do not go through this by yourself. It's going to damage you so much, and it's going to affect you so hard. Please. Again, another please. Anyway. So, yeah. The victim, as I said, she didn't want to talk to me on the podcast, so she shared her story. Therefore, I don't think she can. I mean, maybe, but she can't give what she's learned from this experience. But I guess I can give like this small input as to what I picked up from her story. But I think it was very brave of her to come and share her story, and I'm so glad she decided to. I'm pretty sure it's going to change the life of some others. And yeah, if you have any questions, any inputs, any suggestions, if you want to share your story, please feel free to contact me via my website. The link is in the description. Just click the website link, and then when you get there, you can talk to me through my contact page or the let's chat like at the bottom of the screen. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of our episode. Wishing you guys a lovely week. Don't forget to be the spark. Thank you.